To another episode of Tip Top Startups. I'm David Nima, the founder of Tip Top Startup Academy. And today we are going to be discussing Notice of Allowance, frequently asked questions regarding the trademark Notice of Allowance. You can find more information about this on our blog. And of course, to make sure to pick up a copy of Tip Top Trademarks and Tip Top Startups on Amazon, where I provide best practices and due diligence in connection with trademark protection and startup business launch, specifically designed for entrepreneurs. I have here with me Celeste Hopgood. Celeste has been kind enough to research some of the frequently asked questions that entrepreneurs have after a notice of allowance is received. And she is going to be asking me these questions so that I can provide insight to anyone who has received the notice of allowance in recent months. So say hello, Celeste.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So what are some of the first questions or some of the questions that you've come across as you were doing research on the notice of allowance?
So my first question is, what is a notice of allowance and what does it mean for the trademark application?
Okay, so this is a common question that is received by us when a trademark applicant has received the notice of allowance. And essentially, a notice of allowance is a special statement coming from the United States Patent and Trademark Office that indicates that your trademark has been approved for registration. And it's gone through all the hurdles of examination and even has been published for opposition by third parties. And it has essentially survived all that scrutiny and has now received what I call a green light to registration. So this is tremendously good news for any trademark applicant. However, what's important in the notice of allowance is to recognize that this is not the same as getting the certificate of registration or having what's called a registered trademark. There are additional steps that trademark applicants have to take, and we're going to be discussing that more in this video.
Perfect. That sums it up pretty good and puts it into terms that I think most people can understand.
That's right. So what's the next question?
So my next question is, how long do I have to file a statement of use and what happens if I miss the deadline?
That's right. Okay, so the calendar becomes supremely important after a notice of allowance is issued. And I think entrepreneurs are well advised to calendar the 6-month timeline from the official date that's on the notice of allowance. So if your notice of allowance is issued on January 15th, 2023, your timeline to respond is going to be July 15th, 2023. It's a 6-month interval during which an entrepreneur has to take action. So 6 months is the essential answer there. However, there's no limitation from filing or taking care of the paperwork after a notice of allowance is issued before 6 months. So you can certainly, take action the day of or the next day after the notice of allowance is issued. You cannot take action in terms of filing a statement of use or whatever paperwork is required before the notice of allowance is issued. So you have to wait until that notice of allowance has been finally issued and you receive the email notification or mail notification. And then you have 6 months from the issue date to take action. It's a 6-month window.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So my next question is, what should I include in my statement of use?
That's right. So what is required after a notice of allowance is issued is a statement of use. A statement of use is essentially a declaration by the trademark owner saying that the trademark is now in use in the marketplace. Use in trademark law has a special meaning and essentially means it is being used in the marketplace. The brand is in the marketplace. The products that you have filed in connection with the trademark are now being sold in market, and the trademark is affixed to those products, or your products are branded according to the trademark that's been filed. So a statement of use is essentially the paperwork that an attorney or the trademark owner will file in the trademark office to serve as evidence of in-use marketplace. Now, this is also something called specimens. Specimens are essentially, best way of looking at specimens are essentially the evidence that you're going to be filing through specimens or various types of documentation that's going to be uploaded to the trademark office. So a specimen can be anything from a screenshot, it can be a photograph, It could be a picture of a physical article or a picture of your website. It typically shows that the brand is now in the marketplace. So for example, if your trademark is filed in connection with a pizza shop in class 43 for restaurants, in that case, you would provide as a specimen in your statement of use, you'd provide copies of your menu or your signage outside of your store and or your online website showing that the pizza shop has now opened for market and the trademark is being used to promote that pizza shop. If you have, for example, a website or a mobile app that you have filed for a trademark, for a mobile app, the specimens that we usually use are screenshots showing the mobile app is available in the iPhone store or as well as in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store or any other kind of online marketplace where the mobile app is downloadable. If you're selling clothing, for example, you would show that the clothing merchandise is available either at wholesale, at retail, or online. So the specimen is included within the statement of use, and the statement of use is basically what is filed with the trademark office, showing a specimen that is proves that the trademark is being used in the marketplace.
Perfect. So my next question is, if it is needed, can I request an extension of time to file my statement of use?
Yes, absolutely. I think this is a very important option for trademark owners after they receive a notice of allowance, because you essentially have 6 months to show your specimen, show that you are in use and you have a statement of use ready to go. However, in some cases for brand new businesses, you may need more time to get your business off the ground. You might be looking for funding, for example. You might be still in product development. Your product promotion may not be ready. If in the example of a restaurant, maybe the restaurant is not really just ready to be open yet. Maybe you still need some equipment and maybe you're still hiring staff, for example. So there's a lot of reasons why the business may not be, or the trademark may not yet be in use 6 months after the notice of allowance is issued. And that's why it's important to calendar the 6 months deadline so that you can file what's called an extension request. This extension request is tremendously valuable to trademark owners because it allows you 6 additional months to go ahead and get your ducks in a row, essentially, and file your statement of use, and without relinquishing your trademark rights, abandoning your trademark application, and losing your trademark priority, which is effective as of the filing date of your application. So it's very, very beneficial, the extension request system that's available. It's an option that's available to trademark owners after a trademark has been issued a notice of allowance. And I encourage entrepreneurs to mark that and take advantage of the extension request in lieu of filing a statement of use when you're not to market yet, when you still haven't met the requirements of statement of use or bona fide use in commerce to be able to file a statement of use.
Perfect. That makes perfect sense. So my next question is going to be, still in the statement of use, is what happens if my statement of use is refused or actually rejected?
If the statement of use is refused or rejected, then the entrepreneur must either file an extension request or refile a statement of use. And this is why it's very important to either file the statement of use with absolute certainty that it meets the statement of use requirements, or file an extension request to buy yourself time, or essentially kind of buy insurance in the event that the statement of use is refused. Yes, you can file both. You can file a statement of use and an extension request at the same time, in the event that you're filing your statement of use so close to the 6-month deadline from which the notice of allowance was issued. So if you're taking action on the notice of allowance within the first day or weeks of the notice of allowance issue date, you have some time to kind of make up for in the event of a rejection, either refile a statement of use or file an extension request. But if you're waiting until the last couple of days or weeks from that 6-month window to file a statement of use, then you're not sure that the statement of use is going to be accepted by the trademark office, you certainly want to file an extension request so you can kind of hedge your bets. Then, but essentially having a rejected statement of use is one of the things that you really want to avoid. And that's why you want to be very careful. You want to review the statement of use guidelines in Chapter 8 of Tip Top Trademarks, or consult with an attorney, look at other resources, and make sure that you are absolutely going to meet all the requirements for a statement of use, because it can tremendously jeopardize the registration process, particularly if it gets rejected and you've run out of time to either refile or file an extension request. And I see
Okay,
here,
and how long does it,
go ahead.
and how long does it take for the trademark registration to be issued after the statement of use?
Right. So in terms of a timeline perspective, you can refer to Chapter 7 of Tip Top Trademarks, where I discuss the Notice of Allowance timelines in the context of the entire registration process. But typically your answer here is about, in my experience, about 10 to 12 weeks after the trademark applicant has filed the statement of use, assuming it's reviewed and accepted by the USPTO, then the registration will be issued approximately 10 to 12 weeks after that date. So you're looking at about 3 to 4 months after your statement of use is filed, where you can get the registered certificate of registration, and you will then have a registered trademark. So that's the timeline there. And yeah, so that's those are the FAQs regarding the Notice of Allowance. As you can see, a Notice of Allowance is a tremendously beneficial step during the trademark registration process, because as I discussed, it provides the green light to registration. However, there are some delicacies involved in terms of next steps, mostly in terms of how to file a statement of use, making sure that you've absolutely qualified for the statement of use guidelines. You absolutely have your trademark in use in commerce. It's bona fide use. There's been a lot of litigation over this specific issue. And if you are unsure about it, of course, you should consult with an attorney or familiarize yourself as much as you can with the statement of use guidelines. The type of specimens that you use are really not relevant. As long as you have that underlying use in the marketplace, then I'm sure the specimens will just naturally be able to be sufficiently proven up in terms of what you need to file with the USPTO. And if you get a rejected specimen refusal, then you can always refile another specimen, as long as you were in use in commerce during the time that you said you were. So absolutely, do your research on that statement of use guidelines. It's pretty simple. Again, you just got to be in marketplace, selling products, providing your services. It's as simple as it sounds. However, sometimes the question can become complex if you're right at the border in terms of whether or not you've launched or not. These are some hairline questions that then, in that case, you definitely want to have closer scrutiny on your statement of use and consult with an experienced trademark attorney as needed. This is David Nima, Esquire, the attorney and founder of Tip Top Startups, where we provide legal and business education for entrepreneurs. Follow us on Tip Top Startups on Instagram, and good luck to all the entrepreneurs and trademark owners out there.